How you doing?
Good. How are you? Thank you.
Good. You're welcome. Run for you, Sam?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. My name's Aaron McElhaney. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
And you're?
Sharon.
Sharon. Nice to meet you. You can run. All right. You know what? Before we get started, the HIPAA Privacy Act thing, just didn't get your signature on that. You know, we can't share information with people that aren't directly involved with your care, you know, that basic stuff.
All that information's been out there for 20 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
But then we have to sign it every time,
Yeah.
so we love it. All right, so. Start right here, very good. Just in general, or what do you notice specifically? I mean, is it everything, or is there a specific situation?
I really can't tell you.
Okay, all right.
When I talk with him, when people talk to him, he can't hear. He can't hear people talking around him.
Okay. How long your case was different? The wife was kind of like, you know, dragging him into the appointment, or pushing him rather, and because he didn't feel like he had a problem. Okay, so that's different from you guys. But it turns out
It's not too far away.
up to the first level and then step you up and up over the course of 4 to 6 weeks, and seeing you about every 2 weeks in between. So it's easier on you and more successful, right? So bottom line, we got to that and get you scheduled. So I'm really getting up, and he says to me, wait a second, hold on a second. And, these people have been very stoic thus far, right? No emotions at all. Really hard to read. I don't know about you, but, you know, I like to see a little, I'm not a marriage counselor, so I don't want to be. But you know, if I can help someone in that small way, you know, I thought about it later. You know what? I can imagine the arguments that could ensue. You know, if the thing we call tinnitus, and
Not usually.
Not usually. Okay. And any problems with dizziness, chronic dizziness, or vertigo?
On rare occasions.
Okay. Yeah, a little bit more there. You're talking about seconds? You're talking about hours?
Seconds to minutes.
Okay. All right. Brief. Okay. Either as an adult or a child?
Yeah.
Yeah. Both?
I can't remember childhood too much, but I've had
Okay.
ear infections in the past.
Okay. Anything you would say?
Pardon me?
Where'd you work? What type
Fisher
of thing?
Body.
Fisher Body. Oh, okay, cool. And all right, so you have heart disease of any kind.
Yeah.
The that classification as non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, the NSAIDs, they abbreviate it.
I didn't know that would affect your hearing.
Yeah, they're finding that there's hearing and of course processing and strokes too. So that's the line of questioning, not to, you know, pry into your own personal life, but rather the things that could affect your hearing. And could it possibly explain if we see any abnormality in terms of, all right, so first I want to take a look in your ears. Take care of that. Hopefully everything's clear, but let's see. Yeah, that's good. You're doing what's up, D? Looks like you might have scratched in the outer ear up in there, a little bit higher than that. I don't want to touch it because it looks like it might be sore. Little scab there.
Oh, no, that's, I think that's like a skin wart.
Oh, okay. All quick. Okay. All right, so. As I said, I like to understand things. In fact, to things like the History Channel and things like that. So when it comes to your hearing and this graph, the audiogram, are you guys familiar with this at all?
It's been years.
Okay. All right. What do you do for a living?
I'm a mom.
Good for you. That's the best job. But it's important.
Well, they're off in college now, so.
Oh, yeah? How many kids you guys have?
2.
2. Congratulations. How old now?
19 and 21.
I'm at mid to low frequency ranges. When it comes to speech, we actually attribute about 80% of our perception of the overall volume of speech. And the sounds that are pronounced in that range, when you're able to repeat the words correctly. There's no trick words. They're very simple, one-syllable words, all right? And one at a time, and you just repeat it. So it's not a memory test, okay? Now, let me take a minute and back up and show you. When we talk about your hearing levels, we have 3 basic parts of the ear that function to help us to hear. We've got the outer ear, which of course is what you see, but it's ossicular chain, the hammer, anvil, and stirrup are the common names, okay? And conducted through to the inner ear, and that's this section here. All right, and then we'll blow it up so it's easier to see. This spiral-shaped organ, what we're testing when we do the speech test, is specifically Wernicke's region of the brain. That's what's responsible for processing speech. And then actually, when you repeat it, it's the brain. So we're finding now that we learn more and more about how our brains function, we're finding that the brain will respond to music is one region, okay? We're talking about speech and, of course, language processing. So what we're testing then with the speech test, again, you get to choose whatever volume makes it easier for you to hear and understand to the brain from that stimulus. And so you've probably heard that old adage, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So what happens if it's a muscle? If you don't exercise it, first thing that happens, it gets weak. And then that muscle, a couple of articles reprinted here for you, if you guys are interested to read later. And this article here, their research found, and so Dr. Lin and his team of researchers from Johns Hopkins University, they used MRI proof that is the case. All right, so we still don't know what your hearing's like, so that's what I'm really curious to find. And again, hopefully it's normal. Of course, I love it. That's the easiest part of my job. I love to give good news. Hey, your hearing's normal. Other questions? Not yet? Okay. Well, come on over. We're going to test your hearing in the booth, okay? All right, Ken. So what's your set there? And for the test here, okay. In that case, it still counts. Yep. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear my voice? No? Okay. All right. So, Karen, you'll be out here with me, right? You want to, scoot over or you need to switch seats if you'd rather?
No.
All right, so we'll do the test. Ken, would you mind hitting your button for me? Good. So that way she knows. We'll see that light up on the screen so we know that you heard it, okay? All right, perfect. So we'll start there. Okay. All right, Ken, we're ready to begin. All right, see how it does? So you can see the red circle that indicates for the right ear. So we'll go softer. Good. Can you hear me? Good. We're going to switch over to your left ear now, okay? All right, any questions so far? Okay. Can you hear me? Very good. So we're ready to move into the speech portion of the test. Okay. So right now you're hearing in both ears, but in a moment we'll switch over and I want you to select. Okay. Can you hear me now? Good. All right. How's the volume? Right now it's just in your left ear. I'd be happy to adjust it for you if you'd like to compare, louder or slightly wrong if you don't say anything. Okay. All right, so it's actually pretty easy once we get started. Any questions so far? All right, here we go then. saved. So, yeah, it's still pretty significant thus far, so, anyway.
But it was his suggestion to come here, so that was the first time.
Wow, good.
He said, call, make an appointment, so that is.
Great, that's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see what we can do for him. All right, you're all done. Got everything saved, and I'll grab the results off the printer in a moment. All right, good. And, all right, so make yourself comfortable, and I'll be right back. So let's go over your results here, okay? Markers here. And, put a little color on there, makes it easier to see. So basically, in a nutshell, I like to ask my patients ahead of time because, anyway, it's interesting, of course, and the clarity, the vowels, and the consonants. Okay? Now, let's take a look specifically at what we found. And I'm an optimist, so let's start with your better here. It turns out to be that's your right ear. Okay? And so.
What's like low? What would be considered a low frequency?
Okay, good question. I'm glad you asked. My regular pen, so it's easier to point out. All right, so an easy way. Remember we talked about the vowel sounds. We're talking about deeper sounds. So now this gray shaded region. Now you understand a little bit more about it. Now your left ear. Talking about that, we use the blue highlighter. And so both ears, left and right, are identical in this region. So in both cases, completely normal, no problem. Yeah. I'm glad you stopped me because C-train doesn't make sense, does it?
No, it doesn't.
So that's okay. And I paused for a minute because of a C-train. What did I say that sounded like that? So I just wanted to make sure I, got covered what I get to find out exactly what's going on here. How can I hear these sounds, but it seems like not others? And from your perspective, oftentimes sounds like maybe people mumble, right?
Yes, very much.
They would just enunciate, right?
Yes.
They got a mouthful of marbles.
I keep telling them that.
So, all right, so that hits close to home. Now let's continue then, because remember I said speech testing, I think that that's arguably more important. All right, so I wish that you got them all right, but it didn't work out that way. In your left ear, we started at the 70 decibels that you picked out, and that, across the board here. I don't want to continue until I at least get that opportunity.
I have one with a hearing aid. Where does it bring it up to?
Okay, so good question. So we want to, correct your loss so that you, yeah, cell phone, and of course, live speech, etc. No, I would expect good things.
Because I remember when your mother would have to get on the phone, she'd have to take her hearing aid out.
Oh yeah. Well, that's thing, because in that case, some people would say, oh, I hear better with it out than with it in, or more frequently that the hearing aid would just whistle, right?
Yes, it whistles.
And that's obnoxious. So.
Now, would you be talking a hearing aid?
And so what I'm looking at, the results here, that would be the best case scenario, but we'll talk about that. We're kind of like getting ahead of ourselves here, because I like to test, right? And that's the way I look at things. That's right. Oh, I've been married for 19 years, but in those 19 years plus dating in front of that, I'm willing to admit she's definitely my better half. So, all right, so we got some wordless, and we want to use a normal, casual, conversational speech level, right? And just want to read the words one at a time, reading them.
Sure.
All right. So come on over here. We want to use a normal distance. If you guys were at home and in the family room, it might even be further than this, but 6 to 10 feet away, so this would be fine. Yeah. And then, I'll just grab the stool here and I'll flip the side just so we can keep score here, right?
All right.
Now, for you, it's the same thing as in the booth. right? Say the word, and then you repeat the word. So you weren't in the booth, we would say just
All right.
read your lips. And so we'll go one at a time.
All right.
All right, and if you get it right, wonderful, and if not, then we'll just pause there for a minute. So.
I can see our lips.
Okay, all right. Now it's good? Okay. Okay, all right, good. Sounded plenty clear to me, but yeah, you only got half of those correct, 50%, so you missed half of them. Consistently, though, missing those consonant sounds. So, it's not nothing that we didn't expect based on your test results so far. At 50%, though, you know, well, of course, if you're in school, it matters if it helps you. So let's see what happens, but we'll
And
keep
if
our
you needed
fingers crossed.
glasses, if you couldn't see out of your glasses, you'd go get new glasses.
That's true, yeah.
Now, our issue is
I'm a little confused about what you two were talking about here.
Well, we're talking about two different things, but that's okay. All right, so let's see.
back over there.
No, I want to stay there if you don't mind.
Nope.
We're going to see how you do. I want to give you a chance here to listen and hear what you've been missing. I think you're going to stay nice and pretty. What I think doesn't matter so much as what happens and if I'm right or not. All right, so I'm just going to set these here. I'm going to put them in your ears. I want to connect with my wireless programmer. It's probably that time. Probably time for some fresh batteries. So, we'll go fresh back and I'll be right back. Okay? And that's what I really like. Is once we're connected, I can just mute them. Excuse me. All right. So. Let's go. Just put you there now. Of course, always wipe those down. Clean sanitary. All right. Now, should feel a little something there. That's normal, but shouldn't be uncomfortable at all. How's that?
Uncomfortable.
Good. Is that okay?
Fine.
Good. All right. So, as most people notice, that maybe they feel a little pressure, maybe a slight little itch, but not painful or anything, right?
No.
Good. Now, what I want to point out is something subtle, and that's that there's not any difference, right? So you can still hear me.
Yes.
Just the same as you did before. let's make it sound as natural as possible. So that's the first step. So didn't cut off your natural hearing, because remember your low frequencies are normal. Let me go ahead and unmute these now. Okay. So just turn them both.
It's in here like a cheap radio.
Okay, all right. You know what, actually, yeah, in this software they do, hold on one second. Let me go back this way. Okay, all right, that should sound more comfortable to you. How about now?
Feels like nothing.
Okay, all right, good.
Sounds normal.
Normal, okay, good. So, you know, it's a little different, but, you know, it's a nice, easy transition for you. Remember, I said really early when we first got started, I was telling you about the other couple, and that, okay, you do the vision test, we measure, we get you the right lens, right, and if it fits properly, right, then you put them on, and you should be able to see clearly. So there's usually not an adaptation, except if you're talking about bifocals or something like that, what's, you know, normal, right? So I think, in my mind, it's easier to understand. Hopefully it helps you. When we look at it and we say, okay, we know this is your hearing level, this is your hearing loss. So this has been natural, though. That's what you've been used to. So we're going to take the first step. All right, so it's somewhat different, but not too much. Now, if we give your brain, you know, a couple of weeks to get used to these sounds, when you come back in to see me for your first follow-up visit, then
Increase in volume.
okay. Well, actually, you're surprising me, because even in the last 2 minutes, it's been a change, because initially at this level it was tinny. Okay, so that's actually pretty encouraging. Now again, let's let you get used to these settings, right? And then you'll be ready to go up to the. Good. And now this is the actual target setting, or at least close to it. But the estimated target setting, and I'm going to run measurements and find out for sure right now. We have a test to do. Okay? So, I'm glad you're doing well there. So their actual settings would probably be more like this after we run. There we go. That's based on my experience. So, let's see how you do. All right, we have a test to do. So, taking me as the tutor, I helped you cram for the test, and now let's see what happens. All right? Okay? All right. So, there we go. And you can pick any list you want. You know, that one, whatever you want.
Cover my face?
Yep, just like before.
Say the words.
Very good. All right. Now, remember, okay, I want to remind you, you did great there. So now the perfectionist in me tells me I need to remind you, but you guys might not feel the same way. Now, when you were a boy, right, so that's an easy one, because we know that those vowel sounds fall, right, or dad. You would have gotten those without hearing them. So rather than going through longer lists, we just get a little different sound response, louder, softer, depending on the frequency, and it's unique for each person, size and shape of your ear canal. This estimate is based off of the average person's ear canal. So I'm holding my perfectionist self back. I know I don't have time to run all those measurements for you today, but I have to be happy that we are close, and we're getting you actually very good results. The fact that you're so close to your potential right there, only doing the hard words, that's actually really, really good. So I just want to make sure you understand that. In reality,
Any different to me, but it's very clear.
it's hard to get used to it. Now, the difference in her voice, you said that when we did the first list, you know, it usually sounds like she's mumbling, right? It's just she doesn't enunciate, I think you said.
Right.
But first, let's give you a harder test. Do you mind coming with me?
No.
Okay. So, Ken, on my computer screen there, so we'll pretend that's the TV, although it's not quite as exciting as the TV right now.
All right.
But just because you're facing away and your focus is somewhere else. Okay. So we got some random questions. You could ask them whenever you want, but this makes it easier. Let me see. Okay, so she's around actually 2 corners. She's through the second doorway. So now you could hear her clearly.
Yes.
It's hard to hear from the other room. So this is where she's at. Let me show you. Come on over. So we started off here. She backed up here, went all the way here, and I want to make it harder. Now she's out in the room, TV's on, people are talking out there, no problem. Okay, good job. So, if you guys were at home and that sort of distance, how would you expect him to do normally?
Couldn't hear me at all.
Yeah.
He wouldn't. If I was sitting next to him and I turned my head the other way, he wouldn't be able to understand it.
Wouldn't understand, okay. So, let me ask you this
If I
way.
what?
Well, she's not mumbling anymore now, is she?
Am I mumbling now? Am I mumbling now?
Showing up for everybody, yeah.
I'm showing off.
Yeah.
She's showing up for you.
Yeah.
So, good job. Now, let me ask you guys, that was great, right? That was a tough test. Brand new questions. So, all right, good. So, I guess it's probably it's not really the same question. Just another question for you to stand like this all the time.
Obviously.
Well, it should be,
Yeah.
It should be, but believe me, I've had some different answers, so I'm glad you said that.
Do you remember Eddie Ratter used to turn his off so you didn't have to listen to his wife?
Right.
Yeah, that's not straining.
No.
Okay, that's what we want for that first step. Good. All right. So.
But my ears are getting very itchy.
Okay. You know what? Actually, I'm glad you pointed that out, because if you didn't, then you'd be wondering about that. So when it comes to the itchiness, let me say there are a couple things going on there. All right. First of all, any movement, if somebody just slightly touches, the hairs on your arm, I don't know about you, but I'm tickled, so I'm like, so it can tickle or itch. All right. So a little bit of movement will cause that. Now I chose a little bit smaller tip just because I wanted to make sure it's comfortable, and once I put it in your ear, it can be an issue. Now, here, hold on a second. Let me see that if you don't mind. Okay? No, I'll take care of it for you.
Okay.
What's that?
I said I'm not wired to it, it's all right.
No. That's right.
See the other side.
So let me ask you, I'm going to switch that tip because that'll maybe answer that question. Now, first of all, there are a couple of things going on. Now, for most people, whenever they, first put them in their ears, they do notice some itchiness. But usually get used to that very quickly. And in fact, for some people, they don't even notice any itchiness at all. But for others that do, on average, most of my patients tell me that at all. I'm going to put a little larger dome on this, okay, and ask, how that feels. We'll leave it sitting there and see if that helps you. As I said, when I put the medium-sized dome on there, it did seem a little bit loose in your ear. So I'm going to leave it there. Now, right now, I just put it in your ear. Of course, it's noticeable. I understand that.
I didn't notice anything when you put the other ones in. When you first put them in, everything seemed fine.
Okay, good. Yep. All right. Just a little bit more. Not a big tape. Okay. Does that feel okay now?
Yes, pretty okay now.
Good. So, for most people, and especially with your hearing loss, most people prefer the non-custom tips. But I always have that option. Worst case scenario, if it would continue to be an issue, we can get a custom molded tip on there, right? And when it's molded custom to your ear, it's anchored in, solidly, firmly, and you don't have that issue. So we're going to find out in the next few minutes if it's
All right.
all right. So.
Now, you picked these particular hearing aids. Why'd you pick this particular type?
Good question. So, based on your hearing loss primarily, okay, and then your age. All right. So now we work with style acoustic. Now, I can do custom versions. Let me show you that. So, just so you know, we have them. Okay. Now, I know that you're going to do very well with something like what you're wearing. And we have instruments that are custom to your ear, and as small as that. That's teeny tiny, goes all the way down next to, almost to the eardrum. So, the one that you're wearing now, though, let me let you see that. Okay. So that's got the piece behind your ear there. Okay. Now we can get in different colors. I would recommend a darker color, and blend in, with your eyeglass ear hook. So either going black or going dark gray to match in with, blend in with your hair there. Or, I mean, that's not a bad style.
But you have the, is this just to fit it, or you have to?
Yeah,
wear
that's
that?
just programming.
Okay.
You don't have to wear
Okay.
that.
All right.
That's just the program.
Knows, man, that's.
I'm glad you asked. So yeah, that's just for programming. As soon as I save it off, you don't do that. In fact, let me just do that now. Now I'm warning you, it's going to play a little tune. These are already in your ears. The little musical tune that you're about to hear will.
The tune's over.
Good.
Yeah, my voice on it.
Okay, so let's take this off, and there you are. No wires. They're all free.
Did you see what they look like?
No,
Yeah?
All right.
Want the mirror again?
no, I can't see very well over there.
Okay. Well, I guess it's, you know, in a way it's a good thing. It's not obvious, is it? Right? Hard to find it, even if you are looking for it. But it does sit right next to his eyeglass ear hood. And, you know, personally, my vote would be, if you like that style, you know, like I said, either go from having shell on the end instead of the non-custom dome, like this, on the tip, and that's made custom for my ear, or the actual instrument custom like this. So it's really a non-issue.
Okay.
You can see how open it would, so, and then this goes down in there and it's connected.
Right now, I need to use a men's room.
I thought the way you sat out there, I thought that's what you were saying. So, here. Now, when you flush, it'll probably sound like Niagara Falls, but. Couple doors down to the right, and as soon as you're done, then just feel free to come right. All right. So, you have a preference.
No, I don't have a preference.
See, whenever, if it was me sitting in that seat, I would probably say, well, I don't care what you think, honey.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to,
Okay.
I saw somebody leaving and I was like.
You just run to the manager room and then
okay.
come right back.
Okay, since you're waiting, can you?
Yeah. Be right back. Yeah.
Generally, how long does the hearing aid last?
Good question. Although that's a really tough question to really answer, because when you ask that way, how long does it last? That's one question. Most people on average replace, yeah, we reprogram. That's right.
And like I said, a lot of this determines on how much our insurance costs, what our costs will be. You know, like I said, we have 2 children in college.
Yeah. There you go.
One's in a very expensive college.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Where at?
WTech.
Oh, yeah. That is expensive. You guys are 10 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah. I go to 10 years old every day. I live in Cecil Township. I'm in
Okay.
Denver. So,
All right.
yeah.
That's a nice area.
Yeah.
You say you're through Kennewick over every day?
Yeah, I'm 43 for one.
Yeah.
And I'm here, so.
Yeah, it's a good school district.
What's that?
Kennewick's a good school district.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We're pretty happy with that. Okay, so while particularly you're concerned, you know, if your hearing would change, you know, which, you know, if that happened, which is more flexible, right, in terms of matching that, and the answer is the one that, right. So, you know, without having to, you know, tried it, I understand that. Any objection to what you're wearing now?
Just the itchiness.
Just the itchiness.
I didn't have.
Okay. Men's.
Men's,
Yeah.
okay.
Or dark brown. So, in either case, it's going to blend in. All right, so we talked about warranty briefly, so I wanted to talk about that too, because that's important. All right, and so I don't want to spend a ton of time here talking about this, but it is important because our philosophy is we want to make sure we continue to deliver the care that you need and deserve. All right, want to make sure that you're wearing them. One of the complaints from in your follow-ups, we're giving you more batteries each time. Every time you're in, we're always giving you batteries. So, yeah, good question. All right. So, any other questions about that?
Not at this time.
Not so far. Okay.
Have to be taken out to shower, to go swimming.
Yeah, those common sense things. but they are highly water resistant. We won't say waterproof, because you don't want to intentionally shower from it.
What if we get caught in the rain?
That's right. If you get caught in the rain, anything like that, it's usually no big deal at all. I've never had a hearing aid break down from that, ever. So, and even people that step in the shower and forget, I've even had people dive into a pool and had to fish them off the bottom of the pool, dry them off, next day and every day thereafter, no problem.
I'm liable to forget.
Yeah, so, I mean, it
Yeah,
happens.
you're not gonna die.
They're fairly comfortable.
I know.
Like jumping in the shower.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about technology level, because that, that's basically that drives the cost factor primarily. Let's see. Good. Yes. So let's see. So you have. Let's see. So we have our discount 50% off. So what's that? And we can do extended payment plan options. So, the payments get as low as $67 a month, or we could do the no interest for 12 months.
Well, you say that, which is the one that he has in his ear right now?
Right here. This is what I'm recommending for you right here.
Okay.
Okay. If you want to know the differences, if you think that you'd be better out there, we can talk about it, but you're doing really well with these, and I don't see any reason.
All right, what's the 12 months?
Yep, so 12 months. If you divide it equally by 12, that's the number you get.
Okay.
That's not the minimum payment, but that's, if you want to have 12 equal payments paid off in full, payment's a lot lower. You understand that?
Yes.
Yep. So, then, though, if you don't think that that's, practical, and, of course, these plans, they nail us on the interest, so we can do 6 or 12 months. If you don't think that's practical, then these are fixed at 9.9. You could take it for whatever term. There are other options that are lower that are than 9.9 on their own. So in that case, I would say, go up to 12 months no interest, and whatever balance might remain, before the end of that 12 months, use that, take advantage of the no interest and before that. So that application is, pretty simple. What sounds good? Okay. Yeah. So, actually, I'll write all that down for you.
Okay.
In fact, I just print that because I'll put it off my handwriting. Okay?
Mhm.
So, I'll say this, when, of course, it's a competitive market, here, and the hearing aid is somewhere else at the same price, but you're not going to get all of those benefits with the batteries and the cleanings and the adjustments and all your office visits included in no charge. So, at any rate, I printed those out, so. Okay.
Is this the model?
That's the brand.
Yeah, that's limit, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the cons. We've had really good results, and especially, like I said, for somebody your age, it all applies. What?
Make and model.
Okay. So,
Is an Opticon?
Oticon, yeah. Oticon's actually a very nice product. Of course, if someone else came up with a better product that was more appropriate, I would be talking about that instead for you.
Yeah, we're starting this, so I had no idea they were this expensive.
Yeah, most people don't.
No.
Most people
Yeah.
don't. So, the important thing is, obviously, you're doing well, right? And big improvement. Okay. So, there you go.
All right.
So, actually, here, I'm going to put this in the folder for you.
All right.
Keep everything together.
Yep. That's good.
And this one's got my test results on the other side, so we can keep that. And yeah, I printed 2 copies of the test. So, any other questions that you guys have?
Do you have my settings all down? If I would order a new hearing aid off of you,
Right.
would you be able to program it without me coming in to go through all of this again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so I have, we've got your test results, we've got all that. Actually, most of them do have, savings and retirement income. So
They probably don't have
most
to
of
pay
them-
for college.
You're right, exactly. So, yeah, most of them have a lot more money than I do, but at any rate.
All right.
Any other questions?
Any questions?
All right. Now, I want you guys to talk that you don't want to miss out on.
All right.
So, if we set up that consultation, at least it's proactive. Okay, it's a priority. Let's take care of it. But let's postpone all the other questions that you may or may not even know about until before you go. Okay with you?
No, I'm thinking if we find out that this is a reasonable price and everything, can't we just order them?
Is that okay with you guys?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so let's plan on that. And how soon should I tell her? You want to do it in a week? Or do you feel like you guys will need 2 weeks? It's okay.
2 weeks.
All right.
For sure, I'll wait.
A week? Okay, a week.
Okay. That's good. So we'll go then, consultation. But plenty of time that it's a half-hour appointment, so I got plenty of time to take
Okay.
multiple years, no problem. Okay? All right. Good. All right. So, I'm gonna grab these.
Oh, yeah. You'll be walking out with them. Oops.
Want to get another chair?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? All right. When you, if you decide you want to move forward, then, you do have a full trial period, 30 days from when you receive it, and we don't charge you any return fees, so we want to make sure you're satisfied.
That's a good question I forgot to ask.
Yeah, so that you're that way you're not painted into a corner.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
We'll get you an appointment for about a week then.
Okay, leave to the time.
They're out there on their bikes and you see them at the stop sign, they're like doing the crab walk, It's like, I haven't had that for long. Well, he's dragging his feet. So my dad thinks, oh, well, I don't want his pant leg to get caught in the chain, so I'm going to run down there in the back of this, whatever. So he runs down, of course, his forward momentum carries his fingers right in the chain and stalls the bike. And traumatic for me because, I'm like thinking it was somehow my fault even though it wasn't. And, my dad take that hard kick and whack, whack, whack.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. So
I had a principal in school who used to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, what brings you in today?
Well, I got your information in the mail, and I thought I'd come in and see if there was anything. Well, I don't hear in my right ear at all. I mean, I hear the ringing, but I don't, I can't hear otherwise. I mean, if I close off the left ear and you're talking, I wouldn't, what I would hear, would be what is coming through in the left ear. The right ear is ringing in both ears, but the ear I don't hear, and it's ringing all the time.
So it's on the right side.
My other grandchildren, my granddaughter, she talks soft, you know, so it's hard to hear her. My grandson, it sounds like he's talking another language.
Okay. Good there.
I don't know, it's like frequency or tone or something, I don't know.
Can be, yeah. We'll find out. Let's test it and see what we find. Before this, I was on the health and safety end of things, going to different factories and things like that, and measuring noise levels and making sure that employees got the protection that they needed. And then doing that what I'm doing, because like I said, I get to help people every day.
Let's hope you can help me.
Well, I hope so. But I'll tell you, I like to keep an open mind, so I don't want to jump to any conclusions. There. Okay, so hopefully we're up clear. Oh yeah, good. Yep, eardrum looks good. Everything looks normal. This one's your bad ear. Everything looks normal, so that's good. No issues there. Alright, so make a note here. Alright, so
maybe that's why we wanted you to see a surgeon or doctor, I don't know. Because it looked good, you know, that I don't hear anything.
Well, actually, with the noise exposure that you mentioned over your lifetime,
and I can't say I don't hear anything normally, but when you put me in that booth, it's some of the sound.
But to each person as we do the test, you're listening for beeping sounds, although they might sound very soft or faint, they're still counting. So whatever the volume actually is, everybody walks out of the booth with the same impression. They all sounded kind of soft, because that's what we're looking for. That's our reference. So with that in mind, when we talk about that hearing test, we're going to test the speech range. We're looking at frequencies from low to high, the lower, deeper bass type sounds versus then the beeping. And that's because, of course, nobody's really complaining I can't hear a beep out there in the real world. It's all about speech. So what we want to test for really is, of course, in invasion, it's physical and, of course, mental health overall. These are the types of things that motivate me to try to reach out to more people in the community to come on in and get their hearing tested, and then that way you at least know where you stand. And of course, then if they do have a loss, ready to get started?
Yep.
Okay, one over. And, all right. So, is it, what should I call you? What do you prefer? Gary? Gary's good? All right, cool. Good enough. All right. Somebody's getting it. Lovely. Oh, okay. You all right? You ready? Okay.
Okay, I'd like to.
And, yeah, let's head up front and find out.
All right.
Okay?
That's fine, good.
All right.
Hello.